we'll kick off. So once again, all very welcome to our presentation this afternoon and talking to you a little bit about ideas to future-proof your career. So in terms of where we're going to come to in our presentation, I'm just going to give you some ideas about where we are in terms of professional development. So as you can imagine, there's different people attending our session today. Some of you will be people who are just recently graduated, and then there are others of you who may be out in the workforce for a long time and are thinking about upskilling. But whatever group you come from, I think you'll agree that that idea of never stop learning is really important, because lifelong learning enhances our skills and our professional development, and really continuous education is a necessity in Ireland. And we really have a very well-educated and highly skilled labour force, but at all stages in our career, it is important to upskill. And we know that from a lot of the stuff that we hear in the media, that we hear that things like, one of the quotes I have there is that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't even yet been invented. That's a fairly stark idea, but it's very true. And from the Global Education Forum, we hear that, tomorrow's citizens will need to be prepared for a workforce that will change. And you need to train and, retrain for many stages in your life. And that's important both for your own personal growth, but also for companies that you'll work for to maintain their competitiveness. And we talk to a lot of students when we work with them each year, and we ask them, what's their interest in taking a course with us. And one of the key comments is that, they really want to enhance their career and they upskill for professional development. And I would say that every year 60 to 65% of our students tell us that. And in parallel with that, they do want to enhance their knowledge, because both that upskilling and enhancing the knowledge goes together. So lots of great reasons to do that. And from an economic point of view, it's really important as well. And there's a lot of things that we hear about in the media, what's driving change. And there are many agents of change. And a lot of these that have just popped up on that slide are things that you know about already, things like automation and robotics. Machine learning and artificial intelligence. And we do know that, as strange as it might seem, that machines learn and they act intelligently. It's strange, but they do. And they can make decisions for us and almost predict outcomes. And even at a very basic level, where you feel or see that is that if you ever throw in something to Google search and you're looking for a product or whatever, you might get a reminder to say, actually, other customers liked this in association with that product. And that's machine learning, that's AI, all working in the background, those personal suggestions, or even, robots can talk too. It's anecdotal, but, Alexia is a great example of that. So they are agents of change, and they're increasing productivity, and they're also improving the customer experience and, I suppose, the customer demand. And of course, growing threats like cybersecurity, another reason why we need to upskill, the need for data, a huge requirement to keep on top of data and data analytics, and of course, the green economy and zero carbon, which we've heard a lot about recently. So all of this digital transformation in the workplace is changing the skills that we need, and they're shaping the future of work. And, also the whole COVID pandemic has dictated how change and digital change has been accelerated. So again, driving us to think that we do need to think about how we can keep abreast and keep upskilled in our area. And a lot of people that we meet at various events ask, well, what is professional development and what counts as it? Like, does it have to be a fully fledged program over a number of years? Is that professional development? What is it exactly? And actually, it's quite simple. It can come in many forms, and it's really individual and personal to the actual learner. It can be very basically on-the-job training. You might be in a job where you get some support, you get some reskilling, and it's available through your company. So That is something we would term professional development. It could be a more formal CPD course. If you're in a particular profession, if you're an engineer, if you're in an architect's profession, if you're in the health services, you might be required to do a formal CPD course from your professional body. And in that case, then yes, you are doing a CPD program for your professional development. But at the university, we offer a number of part-time courses, and what we term them, they're like special purpose, very specific courses on a very narrow topic. So they are part-time, special purpose, or sometimes a longer program, what we would term a minor award, maybe a year, maybe two. So we would term those professional development. And a whole growth area that Breen will talk about shortly is the area of micro-credentials. And the very word micro means just a small, bite-sized piece of learning that's needed for a particular focus and upskilling. And we'll hear more about that in a while. And then you may have heard of free online courses. We're traditionally called MOOCs. They are available, they're open, they're massive education courses that people will take for their own upskilling. And again, that's a professional development qualification for you where you're at. And then non-formal learning is something that you might do indirectly, not very formal through university or through an institute of technology, but you are gaining skills. It could be something that you might do as part of your interests, even if you're involved in sport. You may do a course through a sporting organization. You're increasing your professional development. It's not from a traditional third level or higher education provider, but you're learning. So that's that notion of non-formal learning. So what I'm presenting is an idea that professional development is many things. And depending on where you're at in your particular career, you may engage in one of those particular training options, and they're all adding to your professional development. And something to kind of remind you of, and it's really important to think about, but in any course you do, whether it's through the university system or through non-formal means, you are gathering skills. And these skills are ones that we think are very important. We term them professional transferable skills. So you're learning, perhaps in whatever program you're doing, how to problem solve. You might be developing your written communication skills if you have an assignment to do or a presentation to do. You might be thinking about your entrepreneurship skills. So there might be opportunities to apply some of the learning to the workplace in the form of an assignment or a work-based project. But all along, you are making decisions, you're working with teams. So they're really important skills. And they're the skills that no matter what role you play in society or what profession you have, you'll be bringing them from job to job. And they're really important to label, particularly when you're talking about skills and competencies. And sometimes these are very obvious skills, like, you know, you might think oral communication or presentation skill might be something you take for granted, but actually it's really important and it's very useful across a multitude of roles. So never underestimate those professional transferable skills. And thinking about that in a more formal context, and I mentioned earlier about different forms of professional development, I suppose it's hard to have a conversation about professional development without referring to the National Qualifications Framework. And this is a very simple diagram or visual of the various award levels that we have in Ireland. They range from level 1 right up to level 10. And you can see there around level 3, level 4, you know, we're talking about school-going students who are doing their junior cert or their leaving cert, which is level 4 to level 5. And once you go into higher education, you will be starting courses from level 6 upwards. If you have a degree already, it's most likely a level 7 ordinary degree or a level 8 honours degree. And if you're somebody who's considering a more formal postgraduate qualification, like a master's or a postgraduate diploma, they'll be on the level 9 of the framework. And if you're still really keen on learning and really want to specialize, you have an option of doing a PhD at level 10. So if you're thinking of a more formal program of study and you want to try and make sense of it, it's really good to kind of take a look at the framework and have a little seek out as much information as you can on the course of study and ask the good questions or the hard questions. What level on the framework does it apply to? And it's always important to be progressing. So looking for something on the framework where you are already or a level higher is really useful. And I suppose having a conversation around courses and from a university, I've just thrown some examples together here of courses we would offer at NUI Galway and in the centre, which we would term professional development courses. And they're what I term special purpose awards. And that's a category on the award framework. And that's very much so a shorter program, which you may be used to degrees from your previous studies, and you'll be familiar with that they are maybe 3, most likely 4 years. But we run shorter programs, shorter courses, which we would term special purpose awards, which are a subset perhaps of a bigger degree and gives a very quick upskilling opportunity in a particular area of study. So for example, we run 1 year fully online diplomas we run them in change management, we run them in technology enhanced learning, and we run another one in learning and development. And the people who do those courses could be managers, they could be leaders in their organizations who perhaps haven't had a chance to study management or learning and development in their previous qualification. And so while they may be engineers and they may be scientists in their basic or their degree qualification, they've come back to study because now they find themselves in roles where they do need to understand, how do I lead teams? How do I manage people? Or how do I bring technology into the workplace? So again, we find lots of people who come back and ask those questions around, how can I upskill now for this role 10 years on that I've found myself in and I've worked up, and I just feel I'd like a bit more knowledge and the theoretical framework of the courses of that study, that area, and they choose then to take a course with us. Similarly, we have 2-year fully online diplomas in management, in marketing, and a higher diploma in business studies. And in those courses, very likely you are somebody who hasn't studied management or marketing or general business studies in your previous degree, and you wish now to specialize in that area because you've come from a background that just hasn't given you an opportunity to study that particular field. And we also have in special purpose awards around our science and technology area. And graduates or students who will take these courses, again, may have completed their degree programs maybe 15 years ago. And in their studies, they wouldn't have had a chance to specialize in things like automation and control, corporate environmental planning, or maybe lean and quality. So they've now come back and realized that I'm now in a role again where I need more in-depth knowledge. I'm dealing with teams of people. I maybe now find myself in an industry sector where I need that knowledge. And again, that's really important to have an opportunity to upskill. Those courses are fully online. These particular ones that I'm highlighting are 1 year in duration and they're 30 credits. So they're manageable. It's not that there's not work involved, there surely is, but we do find that a lot of people are interested in coming back to identify a particular skill set and to get that knowledge and technical capability in those areas. And our diploma in software engineering is one program that we do find a lot of non-IT people taking, because we take you from the basics again and bring you back in to software engineering from an introductory level and bring you right up to the basics of software engineering. And that's all of those particular qualifications are at level 8 of the qualifications framework. So if you're somebody who you're thinking, gosh, okay, a year is just that bit too long. I haven't time, or I'm really too busy at the moment. And you feel that you just want one short standalone piece of credit or a module. And if that's you, then we have CPD offerings, individual modules in a range of subject areas. And this is just a screenshot from our website. It's just a course in organizational management with human resources. It's a 5-week course. Actually, I didn't realize, but it starts today, Monday the 15th. When I screenshotted that, I hadn't thought, oh, actually yesterday is the 15th. It's just started this week. I hadn't realized that it was as current as it is, but it's just a course that we're starting. We'll have people taking this course who want to do something over a very short period of time, 5-6 weeks, and require that skill. They can decide to come back again and take another course. But there are opportunities if it's just 5 or 6 weeks that you can give to your upskilling. I've taken this screenshot from our website at the university. It's nuigalway.ie/CPD. And for that course, there are others that I would encourage you to go onto the website and take a look and pick modules. They're in health sciences, there's modules in marketing, different ones in training education, early childhood studies. So there's a lot availability. They are starting at different times of the year. So if this particular month isn't good for you, take a look and see what's happening in December or perhaps in January. So options then to do one module and park it, come back another year and see how it goes for you at that point in time, and if you're interested in doing something else. So that's our CPD offering. So thinking back again around your professional development and why you would want to consider something, it's really important that you think about what are the skills you have today that you bring to the module. And don't underestimate that, because you have a huge bank of knowledge from your life skills, maybe from your work experience, and also from your previous qualifications. So that you bring to the table each time. And in professional development, you're building on your skills on a regular basis. So, okay, a module or a short course for the year, yeah, you'll gain new knowledge. You certainly will. You'll certainly gain new skills. Remember those professional transferable skills I spoke about earlier. You'll be working in teams. You'll be writing assignments. You will even be doing oral presentations, and you'll be deciding and making critical decisions. But all the while, those skills will be transferable to the workplace, because in the Centre for Adult Learning and Professional Development, our focus on the assignments is always about how can you transfer that, not next year, but immediately to the workplace. So the assignments that you are given, you will have an opportunity to use a workplace case study or to do some research or surveys in the workplace. And that's really important, because for you, you can see immediately how useful the module has been or how useful the course has been. But equally, when we talk to students, we hear they say, I was able to present that to my employer, or I was at a meeting where I was able to explain that I was doing this course and that these were the things that I learned, and I think we could change perhaps some of the ways in which we operate in the company. So immediately you become your own centre of excellence, your own person who can explain and identify ways to continuously improve. And all the while, that's impacting on your professional identity. You are gaining confidence and you are gaining knowledge, and you're adding to your CV in a very subtle way, but a very simple way and a very effective way. So it does have an impact. And for many of us, we're very time poor. But if you can consider every year to do something small for your professional development, whether it's a short course, whether it's a module, it'll be surprising how it adds up at the end of a period of time. And I think for your CV, it's really important to show that you're continuously adding to your body of knowledge and to be regularly taking something. It doesn't have to be a 4-year course. It can be something shorter, and it can be something very effective. So that's some ideas around your professional development. And this is just to note that in our own centre, we're available on phone or email on a continuous basis. I know a lot of us are working remotely at the moment, and that we are available on phone or on email, and never feel that you can't contact us, because it's important to take that step to ask a couple of questions and to make an appointment to see whoever you would like to talk to. Our course coordinators and their contact details are on our website. So I would encourage you to make sure that you connect with us with these virtual environments, setting up an online meeting is really simple, and we're happy to meet with people and get feedback on what you're interested in doing and see how we can guide you. So that's where I'm going to stop for now. I'm going to move over to my colleague, Dr. Brina Donica, and I'm going to ask Breen to chat a little bit about the whole area of micro-credentials. And what we'll do then, as I mentioned, we'll come back and take some questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Breen, I'm going to give you control.
Do please, yeah. Thanks.
And allow you to share yours.
Share. Okay. Let's see now. No, I still don't have. Admin rights, I'm afraid.
Okay, just one moment. I'll just share that now. Try that.
Now I have it.
Great.
So let me just get this up and running here.
Yeah, we can see that, Breen.
That's great. Thanks, Nuala, for that presentation. And folks, you're all very welcome. As Nuala said, my name is Brian O'Donoghue. I am the Microcreds project lead in NUI Galway and also the CPD development officer. So I'm going to give you a brief overview to what microcreds are. This is a new concept, and I want to give you an insight in terms of what it is. So this started with a government-funded project, 12.3 million euro. It's a nice budget, rolling out until 2025. And it's a collaboration between the 7 universities to develop an innovative system of quality assured and accredited microcreds in the 7 universities. So basically it's to set up a framework for what microcredentials are across the university system. And these microcredentials, you can think of them as modules, and they're going to be co-created or built on a co-creation model in collaboration with enterprise partners. So basically we're going to be working with enterprise partners to build new microcredentials, to build these new modules and to offer them on a part-time basis. Excuse me. These will be offered through an online portal where you'll be able to see all of the microcreds that are available from the various different universities. And what's key about them is that they're going to be stackable. So that means that you can take one microcred in NUI Galway, one in any one of the other universities, and ultimately you could stack the credits together to amount to an award. And that award will be no more than 30 credits in weight. And when we say credits, we're talking about the ECTS system. That's the European Credit Transfer System. So if you think about a module that's 5 credits, that would amount to about 100 or 120 hours of student work time. So as I said, this is going to be a collaboration between all of the universities. It's the first of its kind in Europe. It's been discussed at European Commission level, so they've given us guidelines in terms of what microcreds and microcredentials should look like. And this is the first time that this has been rolled out. It's going to be aligned to the National Framework of Qualifications. So Nuala mentioned that earlier on. The NFQ have that fan going from 1 to 10, 10 being PhD. So these are going to be offered at levels 7, 8, 9 and 10. And as it says there, the project is committed to working in collaboration with enterprise partners. And the reason that this is key is because it shows that or will be sure that the microcreds that we're creating are actually meeting a skills gap or a skills need in the workforce, so that they're going to be endorsed by our industry partners in various sectors. So that way, when you'll know that when you take one of these microcreds, you'll be confident that, right, these are skills that are going to be needed. These are going to make me more employable. So just briefly to run through what the core values of these microcreds. So they're going to be based on excellence and innovation, of course. They're going to be flexible and agile, so they're going to be delivered on a modular basis, on a part-time basis, and for the moment they're going to be online. It's going to be focused on the learner and what the learner's skills enhancement of the learner. And they're going to be tackling economic and social challenges. So like I said, they're going to be focused on skills gaps that are in existence in the labour market. So what's a microcredential? It is a proof of learning outcomes that a learner has acquired following a short learning experience. So like any other course, it's going to be proof that you are that you know more than you did when you started. And these learning outcomes have been assessed against transparent standards, so that when you share this microcred and share it on a digital platform, whoever's viewing this will see that these are the learning outcomes. This is what this person studied. These are the assessments that they did. This is the kind of standard that the student has reached, and it will be clear in terms of what the level is on the NFQ level and the number of credits, ECTS credits, that it's carrying. It'll be certified. In other words, it'll have the NUI Galway stamp on it, and indeed any of the stamp of any of the universities where you do a microcred. And it'll be owned by the learner, and you can share that in a portable manner, so you can share that digitally. And as I said, it'll be recognised by on the NFQ, National Framework for Qualifications, and that is in line with EU standards. So ultimately, this will be portable, not just across the universities in Ireland, but also right the way across Europe. So, as I said, it's recognised on a European level. The microcredits will be from levels 7 to level 10. They will be delivered in chunks of 5, so a 5 credit module that will involve, say, 100 to 120 hours of workload. They'll be stackable towards a minor award, and as I said, transferable and portable. So what's available in NUI Galway? So currently we're in a pilot stage of developing new microcreds, and we're working on 3 to 4 this year. Between 4 and 6 in this current academic year, and we're going to roll that out to 30 over the next 3 years. Hopefully by the end of this year we'll have created 6 in total, and then over the period of the project we'll increase that to 30 microcreds. And just to give you an insight in terms of the kind of topics that we're looking at. So there's one that's currently running, being delivered by the psychology department in sexual consent promotion. It was run as a pilot last year. We're rolling it out again as a microcred in this term. It got booked out very, very quickly, and is proving very popular. We will be rolling out a microcred in social work on the topic of non-violent resistance, as a really, really interesting topic. So it's an intervention that social workers use in families and school settings for violent youth, so for teenagers who are being abusive and violent towards adults. This non-violent resistance intervention is there to assist social workers. Then in the arts and humanities, we will have 2 microcreds in German for business. So it's not just German language, it's German specifically to be used in a business context. So there'll be two microcreds in that area, depending on what level and standard of linguistic standards the students have. We will also have a microcred in cybersecurity, which is very topical at the moment, given all that's happened on campus over the last number of weeks, and that will be called ethical hacking. So we hope to roll that out again in the 2nd semester. We're currently developing a new module in the School of Law. This will be technology innovation in the law profession. This is a really, really interesting area. It's a growing area. Our industry partners have told us about the shifts that are happening in the law profession. So work that would have been done by a lawyer or by a barrister, data gathering, research, combing through documents, finding evidence, that kind of work is now being outsourced to a technologist or legal technologists. And this microcred is training in that skill. It's a growing profession, it's a growing area, and we're told that they just can't train them fast enough with it, that there's such demand for skills in this area. So it's for lawyers that need technical skills, and it's also for technicians that need an insight into the law. And then finally, the last pilot microcred is environmental studies. So this is in water quality testing. So it's for those that are not necessarily trained as environmental scientists, but do need the skill of how to test water, be that marine water or fresh water, and those that will work in that context, that need to be able to sample water and monitor the quality of water. So this just gives you an insight into the some of the areas that we are developing microcreds in at the moment. As I said, my name is Brian O'Donoghue. My email address is cpd@nuigalway.ie, and there are more details on the IUA website. That's the Irish University Association website on microcreds. And I'd be happy to take questions and comments from anybody in the audience now. Thanks for your time for listening, and I'm going to stop sharing so we can go back to the gallery view. There we are.
Great. Thanks, Breen. That's really exciting. Sounds great. And of course, microcreds are so new. It's a really topical area. Just a quick question to kick off with what's industry saying about microcred? You were talking about it being really linked with industry needs. What are we hearing our industry partners say?
What they're telling us is that it's good to have a very solid, and it's important to have a very solid degree, and to be able to build on that with specific skills and competencies in particular areas. So the degree is expected, but it's the you mentioned the transferable skills beyond that, and how one can apply that knowledge with additional skills in particular areas. And our enterprise partners are coming to us and saying to us, well, look, these are our needs. These are the areas where we need to upskill our workforce. Can we work with you, and can you provide upskilling opportunities to us and to our employees within this large industry or within this sector, because these are the skills that are needed in this sector, and that's what we're doing. So microcreds is the solution to that need.
Exactly. And of course, we know now that there's such a skills shortage right across the board. Often and regularly I would hear employers saying how hard it is to get the skills they want, and they're really keen to keep their employees with them. And so they're probably more likely or more interested or as interested in upskilling current employees who are good, loyal employees in new areas or at the next level of their profession, because they're used to the company, and they're used to the culture in the organization, which is they're all really important factors.
Absolutely. And for those who perhaps are going out into the labor market and looking for a profession or getting into a profession, it might seem like this is really difficult to get a job, or it's difficult to move between professions, and that may be so. But on the other side of that, then our industry partners are saying it's really difficult for us to keep staff, and because it's so easy to move between. For their employees, it's so easy to move between companies because there is a skills shortage. And one of the ways that they can retain their staff within a company is to provide professional development for them. And one of the ways that they would, one of the things that they look out for hiring new employees is does this person show that they are maintaining their employability by keeping their skills up to date, by showing that they're interested in learning and upskilling on a regular basis.
Absolutely. And we were talking earlier there around credits, and you alluded to it in your presentation, and I said very little about it in my own, and maybe we could just have a chat about, credits and what credits are. So our micro-credentials at the moment, for our pilot at least, are 5 credits. And I mentioned full courses for a year that might be 30 credits. So in those courses, you might have 5 credit modules, you might have 10 credit. And I think what might be interesting for the audience today is to hear a little bit about, well, what is a credit and what does that constitute? Because these are busy people. We know they have family, we know they have work. So we need to think about how we can explain that to them in kind of practical terms. And I suppose one of the benchmarks for a 5 credit module we often use is 100 hours of learning. Now that can throw somebody off. I know it would throw me off for sure if I thought, but let's talk a bit about what 100 hours is. It is not 100 hours of study at the table every day. Do you want to give your ideas around what that is, Brian, and how we can encourage people to think how practically they could fit that time into their busy professional lives?
So certainly, a 5 credit module would be, as you say, 100 to 120 hours of student workload, and that includes absolutely everything. So it's not 100 hours of lectures, it's 100 hours of student workload. So it covers all of the reading, all of the time you spend on assessments, all of the time you spend on research, on exams, all of the work that goes into completing that module. And at the centre, we are aware of the fact that people are studying part-time and they have other priorities. As you said, they have busy lives, they have a family, they have a social life, and then maybe 4th or 5th on that priority list is their study. So and this is an ethos shift that I noticed when I moved from working in the full-time undergrad area of the university into the part-time adult learner area of the university in the centre, is that the content is chunked and is split up into manageable bite-sized chunks, so that you are given a certain amount to read prior to tutorial. You do that reading, you come to the tutorial, that's your opportunity to discuss the content, and then following that then there might be a follow-up reading or a follow-up assignment on that. And as long as you're able to manage that small amount every week and keep on top of that workload, doing a 5 credit module or 2 modules during a semester is very doable. And I've seen that with people that are really, really busy, that have busy lives, that are a full-time job and kids, and they're studying. And it's a matter of time management. And it's never a case of the content is too hard. It's the challenge is maintaining good time management so that you can keep on top of the work.
Yeah, so true. It's time is the enemy. It's not the content, which is always good. Now, we started on the concept of what is professional development and the need for it. And we're coming up to the end of our webinar tonight. And we mentioned, I wanted to kind of close on that concept and theme, because the people we're reaching out to are people who are in work or are looking for their perhaps new changing careers or converters, lots of different reasons. And I think it's really important when you're taking, of course, a study is to tell people that you're doing it, setting expectations. And the first people I would say you need to set expectations around is your nearest and dearest, your family. You're working, you talk about the 100 hours. I know it's not all at the desk, but there is effort. So what I would say is, make that time, let people know you're not going to always be as available while you're doing that course, even if it's just a 5 credit once-off micro-credential. But the second group of people to contact and to tell is your workplace, because it will change mindsets. And I think our people who are working in a company and they are researching and doing work in a particular area, I think it's important then that your line manager will know that you're taking this course, that there may be opportunities for you to kind of use the cases in the workplace as part of your course. You'll be very surprised how you can quickly knit the world of work with the world of study. And when you're doing that, and when you're interested in that, it's not an effort. It's really interesting, and it'll be a labor of love then in relation to the effort that you're putting in. So, spread the word. Tell people you're doing this work. Tell them that you're interested in maybe taking something from the company and trying to work it through in a practical way through the course. So that's all about the whole idea of concept of your professional development, upskilling as you work through your normal daily life. So I think we've had a quiet chat this evening, but in terms of our questions that have come in from our audience, but we have wanted to thank Tricia Sweeney, who has been in the background working on our chat and has given really helpful URLs and website addresses based on the conversation we had today, and you should connect up with some of those websites for more information. I think you'll find them really useful. So I want to say thanks very much to Breen for your time this evening. Thanks to Tricia for your assistance in the background, and to thank you for coming. We'll be sharing a recording of this video online on the postgraduate Open Day website. And as I said, feel free to contact the Centre for Adult Learning for Professional Development for any queries you might have on courses after this presentation and after this particular virtual Open Day. So thank you very much, and we look forward to having you as a student at some point in the future at NUI Galway. Thank you.
Thanks very much.